I loved the fact that I was seeing elements of my own life reflected back at me. And I just thought, this is missing from so much of motherhood, because all the stuff that I've seen online makes it seem like this kind of beautiful, dream-like state. And that's just, it's not true. So then I had my baby, and I've had 3 babies now since. And because I was self-employed, I didn't really have a maternity leave. So I just was, I kind of felt like I was caught up in everyone else's maternity leave around me. But then as their 9 months came to an end, I realised that it was like at the events that I was going to, it was the next batch of mums that were starting their 9 months of maternity leave. And I was going, hang on a second, my need for support and community doesn't just stop at that 9-month point. Where are the events and where are the community gatherings for women that have got children that are maybe starting school and we feel like we need support? Or what if they're going to university and we feel like they need support? Motherhood, there's so much catered for mums in the kind of lead up to having a baby and the short phase afterwards. But it's a journey for life. You never get off the motherhood train. You will never have moments where you think, oh my God, what am I doing? Am I getting this wrong? Am I letting them down? And there's so much hype around the midnight breastfeeding conversations. And my God, we need that. This is in conjunction with, not fighting against. We need that. But I need just as much support for my mental health and well-being now, 6 years into this journey. And I know I will continue to need it, 60 years down the line. And so I started looking for it, and I thought there was some kind of retreats to far off destinations, and I was like, I can't quite just up sticks.
How does that work when you're a mum?
Yeah. Right. And there were things where, you were still bringing your babies along, but I just thought I'm really craving something just for me, like really just for me, something where I'm giving myself permission to take that couple of hours out of my schedule. And I think for mums, we do often have to schedule things. I mean, you just said that this is a great way of having conversations with people and scheduling that hour. I needed it to be something that was scheduled, that people could put in their diaries, because do you know what? The first thing that goes is time to self as a mum. If you've got it just lightly written in pencil in your calendar, promise you won't see it through. If the kid starts crying, if they're saying, Mummy, oh, please stay, please do this, you'll go, oh, do you know what? I'll go for that swim. I'll go for that run. I'll go for that coffee another time. We rain check it. Whereas if we've got something that we've booked and we've got a ticket for and it's in pen in our calendar, the show up rate for ourselves and for the event is so much greater. So in acting, we've got a phrase where we say, if we can't find it, create it. And so I thought, surely this must apply to everything. So I couldn't find it. And I created it. And it was scary. And again, I just went in with this kind of nonchalant, I'm going to see how it goes, in the same way that I'll see if I write something, maybe it'll land with one person. And yeah, it went. It wasn't just me that was feeling that way, it wasn't just me. So so there we go. That is the most long-winded story of how this all came about.
It's a great story. So what was that first event? What was the first thing that you did?
Oh my goodness, what was my first event? My first big public event was with Anna Martha, who I met when I went to see one of her in-person talks, and I immediately just fell in love with her. And I have to say, we're both very similar souls, and I just found it so refreshing hearing her talk. She said something that resonated with me forever, and it was, we are all just imperfect humans raising imperfect children. And it was at a point of motherhood where I really needed to hear that. I've always had trouble with my own emotional regulation. And again, I was surrounded by this narrative online that we've gone through this whole gentle parenting era, and it was all being bombarded at me from left, right and centre. And so afterwards I stayed behind to chat to her, and we had a few mutual connections. And we just had a chin wag, and I just said, I just know that you and I are aligned in so many ways, and we've been friends ever since. And so when I first thought I would take my events public and do like bigger in-person gatherings and like audience, like big ticketed events, I knew that she had to be the first person that I had that conversation with. And I'm so glad that we did. And she's wonderful. And she agreed in a heartbeat, bless her, which she didn't have to do for little old Zedless to me. It was so refreshing having that conversation with her. But I think a lot of my growth had to come from realizing that I could also have those conversations myself. So I think for the first few events that I did that were these kind of bigger, higher profile events, I was the interviewer and I was almost too scared to trust my own voice. And it wasn't until I was having these conversations and I was going, in my writing and the things that I'm putting out there, I know that I can facilitate this off my own back. Maybe I can be brave enough to actually trust that people will come to the events because I'm also hosting them, and that I can create that same ambiance or setup or validation. So that was a huge imposter syndrome
Yeah, but I
moment.
think so many women will relate to that.